So do you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself, your career, your interests, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I'll take it from there, I guess. My name is Nakaash. I'm a filmmaker, director, photographer from Nottingham. I predominantly work in London. But yeah, I've had quite a journey. Would you like me to kind of start where it started, really?
Absolutely. We've got the time. Tell us everything.
Yeah, so my journey started in Nottingham, like when I was like 19, or I think on my 20th birthday, I asked for like a 500D. This was during like the DSLR revolution. YouTube's still kind of relatively new at this stage. Yeah, I got like a 500D Canon, and I just started documenting the scene around me. Like I grew up on very much like kind of grime music, and there was very much a strong scene of that in Nottingham, and I just started, like, me and my friends used to make music, and I started initially just by making their music videos, and then other people saw that, yeah, I kind of took it from there, really. Fast forward like a few years, I did take a break from it because there was some occupational hazards. I don't like if in a nutshell, you could say like I learnt my craft on the streets, which is a real accurate analysis of like how I learnt. So I was literally filming grime hood videos, freestyles, and it exposed me to, I guess, a whole different world that I didn't necessarily grow up on, but I was very fascinated by. And I actually kind of had some challenges in terms of like I was robbed and set up. So like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get a real job. My background, I studied economics, so I went into banking. Kind of did that, but I was doing quite well with that because I was going to go into private banking, and then as I was doing that, I felt like I wasn't being true to myself. I was doing this for the wrong reasons, because if somebody asks you like, so what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a mortgage advisor, I'm going into wealth management. It's like, it sounds great, you look great, you're wearing a suit, but deep down I always knew that I want to have a creative career.
Yeah. So
in 2017, I quit my job. I actually read a book called The Alchemist that kind of prompted me to do that. I don't know, have you heard of that book?
When you say The Alchemist, like I'm you know, when you see like it's like a picture of it's come to my head. I've never actually read it, but I've seen people talk about it. Yeah.
So the book is by a gentleman called Paulo Coelho, and it's very much, I think everyone is meant to get a different message from that book. And like we all take different things from the things that we read or the art we engage in, but for me it was very much kind of follow your dreams. And one of the principles within the book is when you kind of listen to the universe, the whole universe and everything within it will conspire in your favor, and you'll get beginner's luck. And it's very much kind of like, yeah, chase your dreams, what's the worst that can happen, right? And yeah, that's kind of embarked on my journey. In 2017, I traveled like pretty much the whole world. So in my first year of freelance, I went to, that's going to be a joke, Turkey, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece several times, Austria, Bulgaria, Thailand, Ibiza, Switzerland, and this was all working. So it's cool. That was just the first year. Yeah. So, and then that was with like a travel company called TUI. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're quite a big deal.
Yeah, like I'm a big Shaka Khan fan, and
okay.
they stole and ruined the song. But
oh, what, in their advert, right?
Yeah, I won't get into that. But yeah,
that's what all adverts, or not all adverts, but a lot of adverts, they ruin good art. But I like a good advert. I think a good advert is something that you remember. Like, say, you know, the old Cadbury's advert with the gorilla.
Yeah, or like the twins with the eyebrows.
Yeah. So when it's good, you remember it, and if it's bad, you also remember it. So I guess, yeah, either way, it's good. But yeah, that was like the start of like my, I'd say, true freelance career. Kind of went for every opportunity that I could get. Tried to really learn. My phone's clearing up. Try and pick up as many skills as I could. And currently I work predominantly in the fashion industry. I'm a director, I'm a photographer. I recently did a nice little campaign for Calvin Klein through Hypebeast, so thank you for those guys who brought me in on that one. But I think I'm living my dream, getting there.
Yeah, no, and ahead of this interview, looking at your website, which obviously has, I'm not sure whether it's your full portfolio or just some of the selections, but like even in that, like I think it's like 9 or 10 examples on the website. Some like big names, like you said, Calvin Klein. You've done bits with Slow Tie as well, which Simran is a big fan, so I'm sure she'll be really interested to hear about that. But how? I mean, obviously, we're going to get into talking a bit about advice for people who maybe want to get to where you are but don't know how. But how did you go from being someone that is simply capturing what is going on around them to then obviously going into business field? But then obviously now, like you're saying, you're living the dream. But I'm curious as to what's the middle ground. Like, do you just is it like all through the people that you know, or is it like once you reach a certain level of standard of production then your name is more recognized? Like how do you think you've come to be in this position where you are being offered like very much decent opportunities?
So for me, I do believe there's an element of strategy involved. So like I said, I have quite a corporate background. I've worked for big companies like Lloyds Banking Group, Experian, HSBC. So understanding business, and like I studied economics, so having a strategy was actually important. Like, so say for example, the clients that I'm working with now, I would have written down that these are my ideal clients, this is what I want to work for, these are the people I want to work for, this is the type of work I want to do, and then reverse engineering those steps has been really helpful. So I think when we're in the fashion industry and we all want to do all the cool stuff, one of the best bits of advice that I got was you get the work you do. So there was a point for me where I was very much known for doing like hood videos, what are now like say your drill videos, but very much like grime or hip hop music videos. That's what I was predominantly known for. So at a certain stage, I had to say no. I had to stop doing that. And that created the space for me to do the work I really wanted to do. I just took a step in about late 2019, just before COVID. There was still, at that time, I was still doing those types of videos and I was known for it. And it was very frustrating for me because it wasn't true to me. Yes, I liked it. Yes, my friends are from that background, but it's not me. I'm very much into fashion, culture, trainers, all this other stuff. Like, that's what is more real to me, and that's the world I wanted to exist in. So I made the decision to like, right, I'm gonna just fully work on my portfolio. I think one of the most important things as a creative is to think about how can you bring value to the people you want to work with and be around. So for example, one of the things that I did, a friend of mine was an art director at a popular magazine, and whenever they were doing editorials, I would ask if I could come alongside and create video content. And although the way it was positioned to the brand is BTS video content, so it's very low pressure. There wasn't too much of an expectation, so the expectation was low, but what I would deliver was very much more in line of a campaign style. So I had the opportunity to work with professional hair and makeup artists, professional stylists, professional lighting. You're working in a professional studio set, so you've got everything's been done for you, so you can come in and do what you're good at. Because often I think a lot of people who have a similar journey to myself have learned a lot from YouTube, and we're very keen to do it all ourselves. But the sooner we can get our work to an industry standard and understand how the industry works, the better chance we give ourselves to kind of succeed in those industries. Because I think that's the biggest challenge. Like I said, there's one world that exists on the internet, and then there's how it's done in real life. Another kind of plus point for me in those, like working on those editorials, I got a bit of a crash course from some of the best photographers in London. and I'm just soaking it all in. I'm like, that's how that works. That's how that works. Oh, I need to use those lighting, that flash trigger. Oh, I need to make sure there's a polyboard there. I need to make sure, like, oh, this is what continuous lighting does, and this is the difference in how that affects the image to flash lighting. And it's, like I said, it's just a huge learning experience. And if we start thinking we know everything, we kind of stop ourselves from learning, right? So yeah, just, I think for me, it was strategic in terms of like, this is my goal, and this is how I'm going to get there. I think a lot of creators, although they are really creative, maybe could have a thing they can learn from, like, say, success principles and how to be an effective person. I think the biggest thing that will help you, and I think I've had to grow in this aspect a lot, is just be nice. Like, because nobody, like, if you aren't nice, word gets around quick and people just will respond badly to you and they won't want to work with you.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I think a lot of the time, if there is bad on your name, then it's not that people will wait to meet you firsthand and see, okay, is this true? They'll just think, okay, it's not worth approaching them in the first place. Like, I'm not going to risk like ruining my career by like talking to this person or getting involved in them, whatever. Like,
hugely, because at the end of the day, when you're thinking about, like, think about the reality of the situation. So somebody's at work, they've been offered, they've got this project that needs to get done. It's a very stressful environment. London's a very stressful place. You're being thrown lots of things left, right and centre. You're being asked to catch many things. You're wearing many hats. And the people managing these projects, they just want minimal friction and minimal problems. So when you are being hired, you're essentially solving a problem for them. So if you can do that in the most low maintenance way, it's going to be helpful for you in your career, really. So yeah, again, it's knowing the industry. That's, I think, is the biggest challenge for a lot of people. And I think we were discussing this before we came on air. Just, there's unfortunately some people who gatekeep and some people who just want to see as many people come through the door. It's a tricky. You have to find the people that are happy to help you, right? Mentors are great.
Yeah. Well, along those lines, when you were describing your journey as well, of like, being strategic and putting yourself in these positions where you're able to soak in as much knowledge as possible, get yourself put out there, that sort of thing. What's your thought on, especially within the art sector, there's obviously a lot of it is to do with getting experience, who you know, etc. And often the only way you can do that is by shadowing or having mentors, that sort of thing. But then that's not always necessarily accompanied by a paycheck. So what's your thought on people that want to get to somewhere but then have to face the potential possibility of doing it for free? Like, and like, how long do you think people should put up with that? Because I think whilst you could say that obviously everyone's got to start somewhere and you need to do that experience for the first couple of however long before getting somewhere, there is a point maybe where some people are like, hang on, I've been doing this for a while, am I being taken for a mug now, like, doing this?
Yeah, I think this is actually quite a huge problem within the creative industry, that in the fact that it's somewhat set up for those people who have an element of privilege, because you do see it. It's very normal, like people that say have come from a good background, are able to intern and are able to kind of say work in London. They may have their rent paid for, so they can take on like an internship or a non-paid role purely for the experience. And I think as much as that is, it's frustrating, but like life is quite competitive, and it's just one of those things you can't really get bogged down by it. However, I think the industry is changing. There's a lot of initiatives for people of different backgrounds to get in there. And again, it's always about relationships, building rapport with people that you get on with, and then how can you offer them value? if you can offer someone value, like I get often asked like, oh, can I come on set? And there's some people that I'm like, yeah, and there's some people I'm like, no. And the reason, I think I can literally speak on an example recently, it's like, if I feel like there's not really a fair value exchange and it's just one way, like there's not much, like if you just want to come and learn from me and that's it, then why would I do that? Whereas there's other people, there's a lad that I'm currently working with, and the energy's right, and he's already offered me a lot of value, and it's a two-way thing. All relationships are two-way things, and it's just like, say, if like with a friend, if you just feel like, you know what, this person's draining me, I'm not getting a lot out of this, like, you're not going to continue with that relationship. And I think that's key to this game, contacts. But I think if you're good at what you do, I think the first thing is be good at what you do, and then put yourself out there, offer yourself. When you're young, you've got time. When you're older or you're getting on with stuff, you've got less time, but maybe you have more money, so you're able to kind of like work out and things like that. But the key thing, I think with the internet as well, you can build up a following. You've got leverage in that sense. Brands are always on the lookout for people to work with. People are constantly looking for new talent. So it's a mindset thing, right?
For sure. So probably rounding things off now, what would you say is your main advice to the people out there? Because there's been like little nuggets of knowledge in the past like 20 minutes that have like we've kind of answered the question of advice for people. But if you were to summarize it for someone else out there who's maybe in their mid to late teens and is like, you know what, I'm really passionate about art, photography, videography, etc., but I don't know how to go about getting a career in it, what would you say to them?
Play, have more play, like have fun with it, experiment, follow your natural curiosity. Anything that you think's interesting, tickle that itch, because like I said, I never really intended to be a director or a photographer. It actually started from me like rapping in the playground and then making some music in the studio, and then I wanted to make myself a music video, and then in that pursuit of that journey, like I said, I've now got to here, and that's just by following my natural curiosity and itch, and yeah, it's paid off. And I think that's really key. Play. I think we forget how to play as adults. Nice.
And if people want to get a look at your work or potentially reach out to you for potentially that valued exchange rather than being one-sided thing, where's the best place for them to find you?
I guess hit me up on my Instagram. It's instagram.com/Nakaash Hu. You can spell that NAKAASHHU, or you can try and find me on socials as Cashcam, both with a K. Either of those things will work. So yeah, I look forward to hearing from people. I'd love to give you some advice, whatever I can.